Yo, what's up? It is me, Banana, and in this video, I'm going to be going over how to get motes the most effective way, because I have been grinding a lot of motes. I believe I'm in the top 20 for lifetime motes earned, and I won the Shen auction for the first Rift Prism. You can see I have the imbued Rift Prism being applied to my accessory bag. You actually consume the talisman if you're using it to its most effectiveness, where you're trying to get the most magic power, but I won that, and it is because of all the ways that I've been grinding motes. I'm going to tell you a bunch of different ways in this video, and I'm going to tell you what the best stuff is, because some things are very clearly better than others. So if this video helps you out, or if you enjoy, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscription, and remember to use code BANANA on the Hypixel store for 5% off any purchase. That is the best way to support my channel, and I love anyone who uses the code. So thank you guys so much. Let's get into how to grind motes. One thing you're going to notice in the Rift is that the further you go into the Rift, most of the time you're also going to be making more motes, but there are some pretty good methods early on. If you are not super progressed into the Rift and you for some reason want a bunch of motes, Leech Supreme is super good. I believe Leech Supreme used to be a bit better on alpha, but you can get up to like 7,000 per run, I believe, depending on how your spawns are in the Leech alpha phase and how many kills you get. But you can get a lot of motes from here. You can get 3,000 for sure from beating Leech Supreme, and you also can get however many you get from killing the Leech waves that spawn during the Leech Swarm phase of the boss. So doing Leech Supreme is pretty good. You can just do it and drop down, and then whenever you kill it, you should be able to basically just run right back over, and he'll probably have somewhere around like 5 seconds before Leech Supreme respawns, and you can just keep doing that. It's pretty good for motes, but it is definitely not the best method that I have used myself. I never really tracked the rates of motes per hour that I was getting from these, but I know that I was doing what is basically the most effective method known at the time, and Leech Supreme was definitely not it. The next methods are going to be in the living cave. This is where I thought the best method was, and this is where I grinded a lot of my motes, because if you looked at the leaderboards of the top lifetime earned motes, which you can see with some of the Discord bots that check API, a lot of people were sitting in the living cave and doing stuff in here. One of the things that people were doing was killing auto nulls. Auto nulls are for some reason very, very good for motes. You're going to see when I kill this guy, 400 motes from just the kill, and on every single kill you get one of these nullified metals, and if you bring that to the mote scrubber, you're going to get an extra 100 motes. So every auto null you kill is going to be 500 motes, which I believe is more motes per mob than any other mob in the game. The only other thing that would come close is vampire, and that's if you're crafting everything into the enchanted vampire melon. But auto nulls are going to be very good on a per mob basis, and it's going to be pretty enjoyable. The problem that I've found with auto nulls is that you're going to have these blocks spawn like a lot of the time. There is ways to avoid the blocks. I'm going to see if I can find one that is in a position where you can avoid blocks. Like if you see anything like these 1x2s and you can knock an auto null into there, then they are not actually going to be able to spawn their blocks, and it's pretty good. Like this one, you should be able to just insta phase this guy and get through it and get your 500 motes. So whenever you can get them in positions like that, it's super nice, but you can't always get them in positions like that, so it can be sometimes a little annoying getting the blocks. So what I did to get around this, and this was pure theory crafting, I never even compared my motes per hour between auto nulls and this, but this seemed really good, was I started mining living metal in the bottom portion down here. I grinded a bunch of it, and then I would make these spawn eggs for boot spawns. All right, and then when you get these boot spawn eggs, you're gonna see right here, this is where I came down. All right, that would be the like where the village is over that way, and if you turn around, you're going over here and you go to like this fence. All right, you can place a boot spawn right here, and you can just kill it, and it will always phase skip if you spawn it here, here, or here, and keep them knocked back in the corners over there. It's gonna work perfectly, and you're gonna get 500 motes from killing the auto boots. The problem here is that you would be grinding living metal beforehand, but it seems like it's actually not that bad, because you can grind about 40 seconds of living metal for 5,000 motes that you then go spawn over here. So it ends up taking like less than 2 minutes for 5,000 motes, and it's pretty darn good. And I think if you just grinded a lot of metal metal and then did a bunch of eggs in a row, like you did 100 of them in a row, you would start seeing better rates than if you were just doing auto nulls. So auto boots and auto nulls are both great options for motes that I used a bunch, but I still don't think that they were the best. So what I believe the best way of manually grinding motes actually is just doing thrall and fledglings around the area of Vampire Slayer. You don't do Vampire Slayer, you are not doing bosses actively, but you are just killing these guys because you're going to get, I believe, 200 on every single one of the kills that you're going to get, but you're also going to get these vampiric melons whenever you kill a fledgling or a thrall. And what these vampiric melons do is craft a healing melon, but that's not really useful. And also they craft an enchanted vampiric melon. If I killed 8 more, I can actually do that craft, so I'm going to do that real quick. All right, so I got the stuff to do the craft here. You can see enchanted vampiric melon, worth more motes than the sum of its parts because it's glowing. All right, so if we bring this over to the mote scrubber that is in this area, there is one over here, you're going to see that this sells for a lot, and I mean a lot of motes. It's going to sell for, I believe, 21,000 motes, and you're also going to be able to get the Hemovibe while you're here, which theoretically you could craft and turn into motes. You could also just get splatters whenever you're grinding if you can't find any thralls and fledglings. It's gonna add up to a lot of motes from selling the stuff here, and I actually have a number from someone here. They said that they got 214,000 motes in an hour of doing just killing vampires like this, where you're not doing the Slayer boss and you're just going for the melons and trying to sell that. 214,000 motes an hour, as far as I know, is the best manual grinding of motes method, and it's going to be the best for anyone who is an Iron Man profile. But there is methods that are way better. You can get like 1 billion motes an hour, but it can't be done on Iron Man because it uses coins. So you can't transfer into the Rift like most of your items. You can't bring in your Hyperion, you can't bring in coins, you can't bring in your armor, but things that you can transfer out of the Rift, you can also transfer back in. And that goes for 2 things specifically that I used a lot when I was going for my maximum motes. Those 2 things are the Fantastic Chocolate Chip and the Bubba Blister. These come from Vampire Slayer. They are not a super duper rare drop. These are power stones that exist on the bazaar, and you can buy right now for about 1.7 million coins buy order or 2.4 million coins buy order. These are going to be pretty decent power stones. They're not the worst, and people are going to be buying these for Skyblock XP, but I'm just going to show you that if you buy them for something other than Skyblock XP, it's going to be super darn good. So we're going to buy a Fantastic Chocolate Chip and quickly go over to the transfer chest, which is behind the dark auction if you haven't used it. So we're going to transfer that in, and then let's just go in the Rift and look at that Fantastic Chocolate Chip that we just bought for 2 million coins. So you can see I have the Fantastic Chocolate Chip that I just bought for coins inside of the Rift now, and we're going to bring this over to the Motes Grubber because the Motes Grubber will buy items for motes. And you're going to see that this sells for 10,000 motes, meaning that you can convert all your coins into motes and just win auctions. And that is what a lot of people, including myself, were doing to get the most motes possible. I grinded a bunch of my motes manually. I have been playing the Rift more than I have been not playing the Rift when it comes to the way I've been spending my life, but doing this and getting the Power Stone specifically that seemed like the best conversion rates made so much sense and made me able to win the first Shen auction. If you're trying to win the next one, I recommend you get on this right now because the prices are not absurdly high right now. It is less than 30 million coins for 90,000 motes, and you can get a lot of your current coins. If you have generational style wealth, if you have billions of coins of net worth, it's going to make sense to get this talisman as soon as possible because the price is just going to keep increasing for this talisman. It is going to be a very expensive thing because a lot of people, you got to think about the guys who didn't win it in the last Shen auction who have, like, you know, the 2 million motes or whatever the bottom bid was at the time, because they are going to be able to bid on this next one, and if they don't win, they're going to be able to bid on the next one. So the motes cost is going to go way up for this talisman and anything from the Rift Shen auction, so you want to get to it as fast as possible. And I think the best way of getting that as soon as you possibly can, sorry Iron Man players, is just going to be buying the motes. other than that, grind vampires without doing the boss. It is a pretty darn good method, and it should be able to at least slightly compete with people who aren't just multi-billionaire, trillionaire, refraction, death streaks kind of people. But it's going to be hard to compete with those guys when they're able to just buy things and convert them into motes, which is the best way of doing it. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm just giving you all the methods that I was basically using on my way to getting the talisman from the Shen auction. Let me know what other Rift content you want to see from me, because I am basically maxed in the Rift. There's not many more things that I could do in here to actually progress myself, but that's going to be it for this video. I will talk to you in the next one. See ya.